Omar, you can hear me? Hey everybody, how y'all doing?
My fault. I'm having
Hey,
some.
Jess.
Good, good. Good to hear your voice.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. All right, Omar, I'm about to make you host right now, okay?
Okay.
And y'all, I should be set um to be back on the calls and like active and stuff next week, okay?
Sounds good.
All
Take your
right.
time.
Take your time.
Take care of yourself.
All right. Okay, Omar, you can go ahead.
All right. How is everybody doing today? Happy
Good.
Labor Day week.
Everybody's good.
We're good, bro. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, we're good.
Hanging in
Anything like me, you definitely enjoy your Labor Day weekend. I'm sitting here trying to recover myself right now. But it's gonna be a short meeting, nothing too long. We're gonna do the same thing like I did last time. We're gonna go over charts. I have a few pairs that I feel like might be ready for an entry come this week. We'll go over structure, and then we'll also talk about entries. And then we'll do psychology at the end, and then I'll open the floor for questions, because I have a bunch of questions all the time. So I'm sure there's somebody out there who has a question or two that needs answering or clarification. So let's get into it. So this week's pairs, what I'm looking for is GJ. We're going to talk about structure. I picked GJ to go over this week because we're going to start on the 1 hour structure. The way Jess teaches the flow with the market. Always look at structure and how structure is forming at all times. Becoming aware of where price is at any given moment and realizing where you're at and where you've been, helps you identify when you're going to enter at a certain point. Can you please mute your mics? I'm not too new at this, so I don't know how everything works, but I ask that you just have respect for everybody else and mute yourself. So structure moves in a certain direction, and your fibs and structure, they play a huge role with each other as well as your trend lines, right? So we identify my blue is my 1 hour, right? So we have an overall uptrend. We're coming down on our trend, which is structure. So we have an impulse correction. I think you fixed it yourself. Thank you. We have up impulse, correction, impulse. So structure turned around and it started creating lower lows or higher highs or lower lows. There's multiple ways, verbiage, how you use it, it's all the same. It's just how you feel comfortable. Just like you have support resistance, you have ceiling and floor. I learned that way. That was the first way I learned. And then you also have supply and demand zones. They're all the same thing. When it comes to it, it's just how you feel comfortable identifying the areas in which you look. But back to structure, we have this impulse down, comes up, and once it breaks structure or comes out of my former trend on my higher time frame, we have a Fibonacci that comes from point A to point B. We have an AB form, we have a C, which confirms it. I know it goes back inside price. You just have to learn how to understand. I see the market the way I see the market. This is from consistently being on the chart, so I understand what works and what doesn't. I can tell you what works till I'm blue in the freaking face, but until you get up and you do it yourself, you won't have any idea of what I'm talking about. It's like baking a cake, or I don't know if I have anybody who cooks. The other day I was making stewed chicken, and my uncle usually does make stewed chicken with brown sauce, but I usually make my stewed chicken with sugar. And if anybody knows how to cook, you have to understand that in order to brown your sugar, you have to constantly be on the pan. You cannot move away. You have to sit, watch, and constantly stir. And there's a time period where your sugar can either be too candy or your sugar can be just right where it turns slightly brown, and that's where you execute. But you have to learn how to train your eye to see when it's time, for your chicken to go in. I like to eat. I love food, so I just felt like it was a great way to, compare. But so same thing with the market. You have to train your eye. It's all about training your eye. I can't train your eyes for you. You simply have to train your eyes for yourself. Can't nobody read for you. Can't nobody write for you. You have to do it yourself. Same thing with the market. She's giving you the tools to succeed in this world. It's up to you to just sit there and apply them. And everybody has this mindset to where I'm better, I'm this and that, but you must learn the rules which you've been taught in order to succeed in this world. You have to be able to let that ego go and understand that, the rules that are applied will definitely get you where you need to be. Just following. But anyways, back to structure. So we have impulse correction. This is what I see. So I see an overall sell on GJ, which is this fib. Hasn't hit my 27%, but right now we're in heavy consolidation, right? So we're stuck between two zones. So if I break it down, I don't know how you trade, but I trade on the 15 minutes my entry. I am in an overall sell. So I know that on my higher time frame, right? We understand, if I don't know if you guys seen that we are coming down to this area because I have a Fibonacci that hasn't hit, and we're coming from a break of a trend line, right? So I know, okay, in my head, I'm going for overall sell, locked in, right? As you go down to your 30, you know, you work your magic on your 30, you can counter trend trade. So this is where counter trend trades come into play, as well as your smaller time frames. But you have to be aware where you're going, and you have to know you're in a counter trend trade, because you can be shooting for that negative 27%, and they only hit your negative 61. I do apologize, I misspoke. Your negative 61 only hit your 27 and reverses on you. This is key. You must know where you are at all times. It's like when you go outside, you should wear your surroundings. You know what street you're on, you know what block you're on, you know your neighborhood. Same thing with these charts. Your charts is your neighborhood. Becomes aware of where you're at all times. So on my 30-minute, I have the downward trend. So we're going from the higher time frames, which was down, right? Now we work our way down to our 30. I box priced in where I have a floor ceiling, supply and demand, or what else do they call it? So supply and demand, or support and resistance areas. I do apologize. I had a moment. Again, I'm tired. I just came back from the gym. So right now I kind of box price in, and overall I have this downward trend impulse correction. So this is the structure in which the 30-minute is moving in a downward correction. We broke out of this trend line. So that lets me know, okay, now my 30-minute, I'm going for a buy. So my 1 hour, I'm in a sell, but my 30-minute, I'm in a buy, right? So I have that locked in, right? So I have a break, have a retest. There is supposed to be a fib here. I think I deleted it. But anyways, so from point A to point B, let me move this out the way. Give me a second real quick, guys. My negative 27 was hit. It didn't touch my negative 61. This is a counter trend trade because I understand overall I'm in the sell, but I'm still going to take it. I'm not going to leave any money on the floor or on the table, Scary money don't make no money, and I'm never going broke, so I'm gonna take all the market's money. But we have this impulse correction. We come to a negative 27%, and then as you see, the market has fell. Even though it's still just, it can still move, but at that point we're done with that fib, right? So as we get closer to price, we're still in the overall sell though. Until structure moves up, I will still a buy. I will still consider it a buy, but also understand that the higher time frames can engulf a smaller time frame, right? So yes, I'm in this overall buy, but price may never push up high enough to give me clarity for a 30-minute trend line, right? Price can just keep falling because on my higher time frames, I'm in that sell. But I'm not gonna be afraid. I'm gonna catch what it gives me. That's not loading. There we go. Yes. So overall, we're in a sell, but understanding on my 30, I'm in a buy. All right. But price can keep going low and break everything that has going. It's like the household, the kids have to listen to the parents, and then the parents say it all. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. Like you might, or siblings, you might ask your brother something and he might say yes, and you go to your mom or your dad and they say no, they trump everything. You understand? So that's the best way I can put it. Hopefully that makes sense. But the higher time frame is going to trump your smaller time frame. But just understand where you are. It'll help you, and you won't be fearful when you enter this counter trend trade, because I know I'm going against the grain right now, but I know I'm going to at least hit my negative 27% because structure is king. Structure is always going to play out. So if you understand structure, is going to help you catch them trades, so you're not stressed. Okay, maybe it's not, maybe it is. You just enter, you walk away, and go about your day. I know my 27 is going to hit regardless. 61, I'm not too more batting on. I'm like, maybe not, maybe so. We worry about that another day. Now you go down to your 15. 15 is my golden hour. I love the 15. 15 is break and retest for your entries, but that also comes from knowing your direction of your trades. So if you don't understand the direction of where you're at, you're on these smaller time frames, being that the 15-minute structure can be trumped once again by a higher time frame. You can be on an impulse correction on the 15, thinking that it's going to impulse one more time, because usually the market moves in threes. I don't know if anybody knows about the Elliott wave. That's one of the first little structures I've learned just to identify. But for example, impulse correction, impulse, it can just simply turn around before that last impulse because a higher time frame may have came out with news, or something may have happened where the higher time frame just simply trumps everything below it. So the 1 hour trumps the 30 trumps the 15, the 15 trumps the 5. Just be aware of that, so on and so forth. The higher you go up the chain, just like life, higher you go up the food chain, shit comes downhill, not up. But we're on this resistance area right now. I'm expecting a buy, but once again, we're in an overall sell. So remember, on my 1 hour, I know I'm going for this sell, but if price does show me that it wants to break and retest, I'm going to draw my fib from point A to point B, and I'm going to take my buy to my negative 27%. Sometimes I'll hold it, wish for the best, but I'm going to take my first TP at 27, allow my last two to just ride out and put a stop loss and profit and hope for the best at that point. At that point, I'm just hoping, I'd have made my money at this point. Now I'm just having fun with it. So that's GJ for the week. I'm going to go over gold because I know a lot of people love gold. GJ and gold are my best friends. And I trade everything else. Everything else works, I was telling one of my friends that we were talking about trading because they've been trading the same time as me. And we're having a discussion. And they're like, how many pairs do you mark up a week? And every week I mark up 7 consistently. I consistently mark up 7. I can mark up 7 pairs for the week. 3 may be ready. I may only take 1 trade that entire week, but I maximize on that 1 trade. Once again, the following week, I can mark up 7, 3 can be ready. I might take a trade on all 3 of them that week, so it just depends on what's ready for me. Because once again, we're anticipating a move. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we're waiting. Certain things have to happen in order for you to take, reading the comments, I'm sorry, in order for you to take your position in the market, so
Can I
let's
say
go
something
on.
real quick?
Go ahead, my brother.
Hey, I want to say that what you just said is so true about, when you mark up the 7 pairs, to be very selective about the pairs you choose to trade, because I made a lot of mistakes this past week because I marked up too much stuff. And I'm beginning to learn, because I'm new to trading, I'm beginning to learn just because, and Jessica says this a lot, just because the market is open doesn't mean we take trades. So I am learning to only take trades that are crystal clear 100%. So I agree with you 100%, brother.
Yes, sir. And I'm gonna piggyback off what you said, because that's IML. I came from IML. I don't know how many of you guys came from IML, but when IML was big, I got in right before it became big. But I was used to trading every day, waking up, having to make money every day. And the psychology I've went through over the last 5 years, I've been trading for 5 years, and I recently became profitable over the last. Justice class definitely put me in a position, but I had to my psychology is already kind of screwed up, so I had to backtrack, pull myself out of that hole to understand that certain things aren't what they are, and I had to reteach myself. That was the hardest part. The hardest part was not trading. Trading is easy. It's the psychology and mindset, because you've been taught something for so long the wrong way. When you get something right, you're going against what's right, thinking that the wrong is right, Can you please mute yourself? Thank you for the music, but we don't need it at this moment. I'm gonna reach it for you. Hold on. How do you do this? Yeah. Thank you. All right. So the psychology was the hardest part, honestly, but I get to that. Let me not get off topic because I can talk for days. And I'm tired. I gotta go after this. I need to take a shower and handle business. But okay, EJ, let's get on the EJ. We're gonna go to our higher time frames. I always start from my higher time frames and work my way down. Start big, go small. All right. People say smart small, go big. On this, start big, go small. Always work your way down. I don't know who took the course, but you understand how to do a top-down analysis. You understand how to box price in. So if you took the course, you understand where I'm at. Those who don't, if you don't understand, I do apologize. By the course, so you know what we're talking about. Get in the conversation. Spend a little money. But on the higher time frame, hello? Can you mute yourself, please? I'll mute everybody. She got it. All right. So on a higher time frame, once again, we have the hour. We have this uptrend impulse, correction impulse, right? We have from point A to point B. My fib was hit negative 27%. So now once this structure is broken, we have structure broken on this blue time frame. We have an impulse, correction impulse. We have a fib from point A to point B, 23%, hit my negative 27 and my negative 61. Now, EJ is at a, I believe it's at its lowest low. Yeah, EJ's been here for a minute.
That's EU.
Hasn't been here. I do apologize. You're correct. You see how tired I am? EU. Yeah, so EU is pretty low right now. So I thank you for correcting me. So EU right now is at a 1 hour break. So now we have a new structure forming because we have this impulse correction. We have a trend line, which is 2 touches, been broken and retested. So on the 1 hour, I know I'm in a buy now, right? So in my head, all I hear is buy, 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 right? That's all I hear. So I follow a certain select set of rules. I do apologize, that was a tongue twister, but I follow a certain select set of rules that I follow every time I trade. As you see, I'm giving you kind of a glimpse as to what I do, which is my 1 hour. I look at my higher time frames, get an idea of where I'm going, work my way down to my 30-minute, look at structure again on my 30, identify my 30-minute structure, which if you see, this is a counter trend trade here, right? I kind of enter a little differently on my 15. So this is my counter trend trade here. We have a break retest. It broke my 15, broke, retested, and then it dropped, and I got it from my sell, which is my negative 27%. But this is a counter trend trade because we understand on our higher time frames on EU that we are in a buy. But I took a sell because once you understand structure, again, structure is king. You can know where you're at and still go against the grain because you understand certain things, you know. This is what training your eye is. I train my eye to see structure the way it is, you know, and I use my tools, which are my Fibonacci, my support and my resistance areas, and my trend lines to identify structure easier. You know, like Jess said, I think a few weeks ago, man, I don't even need this half the time. Like I just see it and I look at it and I'm like, oh, I know exactly where you're going, you know, because they're tools to help you identify structure. Structure is what we're really touching. You know, everything else is just background noise, you know. Well, the fib is great because it tells you your TP. But besides that, you know, once you get in the groove of things, you just look at it like, I know exactly how you're about to move. I can look at my 1 hour and I can determine how I'm going to enter off the whole entire screen when I break myself down to my 15. But overall, we have a buy for the 1 hour on EU. Right now, price is doing a little something. I'm not too sure, but what I want price to do is, and if it does do X, Y, and Z, then I will go ahead and pull the trigger. But if I don't see certain things, I don't even touch the market. Once again, I can have 7 pairs marked up. 3 might be ready and only take 1 for the week, you know. But on that 1, I'm going to take off, you know, take it for what it's owed. I'm gonna take basically a big chunk.
Can you explain to
Pardon
what
me.
makes you see a buy? I'm sorry.
Yes, so, no, you're good. You're more than good. So what makes me see a buy is my time frame correlation. So my correlations on my time frame. So at my 1 hour, once again, we have this overall sell, right? Which is my blue. My blue line is my 1 hour, right? So I have my time frames color coordinated. Okay. So my 1 hour is my blue. I understand on my 1 hour, I just broke this 1 hour. So I have an overall buy. We do have this impulse correction impulse, correct? Which is consolidation, which it could fall again because my higher time frame can trump my 1 hour. You understand? But if certain things aren't done, I won't pull the trigger, and the market's going to tell me where it wants to go. So if it's going to determine it wants to drop, it's not going to break and retest a certain structure. You understand? Like it has its own set of rules. So if you understand the rules, you'll be okay. Okay. But back to your question, I do apologize. I had to break that down real quick. Hold on, this internet's acting a little funky. So I have this overall sell, right? We broke this structure right here, which is this trend line right here. This trend line was broken. We have the break, we have a retest, right? And I didn't, after your break and retest, what do? You throw your fib on here. So we have our fib from point A to point B, which is the retest. So I know I'm in a buy on my 1 hour, right? I already know I'm going up. And we also have this orange trend line, right? So now I break myself down to my 30, right? So now I'm on my 30 and I'm looking, okay, give me an entry point and or
me, bro. What's the orange trend line?
That's a higher time frame.
Okay, but what time frame is the orange? Just so I know, your color code is mostly the same as Jess's Force, but you say orange. What we talking? What time frame?
4.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna give you my psychology behind my colors, because my colors are more behind psychology. Anybody who understands like royalty or whatever, purple is royalty, and that's also my grandma's favorite color. And that's my heart. So purple is royalty. You know, when a trend line is purple, you know, when price comes towards a purple or purple area, that price is usually going to stop and halt. Like it stops everything, you know. So that's your 5 or your 4. I mean, your monthly and my weekly. My daily is red. My 4 hours orange. My 1 hour is blue. My 30 is black. And then my 15 is green, because that's the money. You feel me? Money is green. Why not coordinate with each other? Right. So
Copy
that's
that.
the idea behind my colors. Okay. That's the money line. I call that my money line. So now that we have, okay, back to what I was saying. We understand that we're going down. We understand we broken retested. We understand we have a trend line. We understand we have A and B. We understand our Fibonacci set. And we understand we're going for a buy in the 1 hour. 1 hour is going to take too long. I don't got time to wait all day. I got stuff to do today, tomorrow, and the day after that. You know, I'm not going to sit around and wait. Box price in on my support and resistance areas. Then I go in with my 30-minute, draw my trend line, and I wait for a 15-minute entry. Now structure is an impulse correction impulse. I entered here for this sell, caught this 27%. So now if I go down to my 15 is not really ready. 15 did this gap. So more than likely, you know, gaps are filled, right? We understand that when we see a gap, I've been trading for so long, every time I see a gap, I usually see a fill, you know. And the crazy part is we might be talking about today, and today didn't wrap me no fill at all, which is cool. But I need this to break, retest, touch my trend line for a buy. If it doesn't do that, I'm not getting in. Point blank period. All right. Simple as that.
Hey, I
Simple as that.
appreciate that, man.
All right.
When you talk about your rules, you started to talk about your rules for your confirmations and things, and then you drifted to something else.
Rules. Yeah, I have a set of rules, a firm set of rules. It's basically what I just told you. Basically exactly what I just told you. That's my rules. How I just showed you is what I showed you is what I do. So I've just shown you what I do.
I'm guessing in your trading plan. In your trading plan, right?
Yeah, that's my trading
Bet.
plan. What I showed you, how
No,
I
I
showed
said
you.
bet. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you looking for
All
certain
right.
candles?
Sometimes
Omar,
I do. Don't. Yes.
sorry, quick question. Zoom back in real quick. Right where you got your bars pattern. I just want to make sure I was looking at the thing. That solid line right there by your bars pattern under a negative 27. Is that a foundation or that's a fib line? I just want to make sure.
I'm looking. You talking about this right here? Wait, this right here?
Zoom in. Zoom.
Okay.
Like make the
This
screen
right
bigger
here.
real quick.
No.
Right.
Right here?
All right, right there. You see what you see? Wait, go to your bars pattern.
The dotted
Come
line.
down. Come down. Okay, I see it now. So, all right, I got my answer. It's a 78.6. I was just making sure that the solid line I was seeing wasn't a foundation level.
No,
Yeah.
this is I entered the trade and I had to go somewhere and it was an alert on this. It just so I knew where price was going at the moment. This is my alert.
Okay.
I do apologize. Yeah, I'm telling y'all secrets. I getting some sauce today. All right, but yeah, so that structure. Now we could talk about psychology because that's just basically what it is. I'm not about to beat a horse that's already living and kicking and breathing, you know. And you know, if you now it's about you training your eye, you know, get on the market. Because I heard and I read once that it's 80% charts, 20% knowledge. Chart work. You got to get up, you got to do it. You got to get up and you got to do it. Nobody's going to hold your hand. Nobody's going to come save you. Nobody's going to help you. You know, you got to save yourself. But if you get up and you consistently get up and make it happen, things are going to start clicking and it's going to start making sense. But mindset, what I do now is now that I have my trading down pack, I'm gonna walk you through my day. So when I wake up, I usually wake up at 7:00. I sit and I do heavy breathing for 10 minutes. After that, before I do all of that, when I first wake up, I mark up my chart. So I see what price is because the market opens at 8, see what price is, set my alerts, and I do my heavy breathing. I do my full body stretch, full body workout, do my bike for 10 minutes. And then in between, I might get an alert, you know, so I usually do all this in my room. I get an alert, you know, if my alerts goes off, I'll stop what I'm doing, go to my computer, see what's going on. If it's not ready, I'll get back to what I was doing, you know, but it's about getting yourself into a consistent flow. That's the best word I can say. I know some people have kids, I know some people have jobs, I know some people have things to do, but you got to find that flow. You have to make it work. If, you know, you got this far in life, you know, you'll figure it out, but you got to figure it out. I can't tell you what to do. I can just tell you what I do, and hopefully that helps you get to the point where you're supposed to be in your life. You know, you may do it differently. You know, you may do something, you may be on in California, or you may be in Nigeria or Africa, you know, so you have to set your time frames different than mine. You know, I'm in New York, so I work off New York time. You might be in New England where it's 12 o'clock when I'm up at 7, you know, that's midday. You might be at work. So you just have to find what works for you. And just stay consistent with it. That's the word of the day. Consistency is definitely gonna keep you where you need to be. You guys are being taught by somebody who knows what they're talking about. So if you just allow yourself to be taught and not feel like you know it all, you'll get to where you need to be in life. Okay. The further question.
I got a question.
Yes.
She can go first.
I heard a lady and then I heard you. Yes, please let her. There you go.
Okay, I just have a quick
Go ahead.
question. I know you brought up gold, and then there was a question. Did I miss the actual analysis on gold, or?
I don't think gold has analysis. I think I was just telling you people were talking about gold, and I just wanted to go over it because I know it was like a.
I mean, did you go over it? I'm sorry, that's what I was asking.
Maybe I didn't. You
I
know
thought
what?
you kind of
Maybe I
skipped it
didn't
because
go
we
over
had a
gold.
question.
You're right. You're right. I told you I'm tired, and it's been a little longer than I expected. Yeah, I did. All right. I'll
Okay.
go over it real quick
Oh, I'm
for you
happy
guys.
because I caught that
got
too.
you. You got to speak up. Y'all got to speak up.
I'm glad it looked
All
like the
right.
same.
Yours. So okay. So gold kind of doesn't fit in my screen. So this is where you just have to adapt to your charts, right? So not everything is always the same, but the structure is still the same. So my 1 hour, I really can't get a good glimpse of where I'm going on my 1 hour. So I'm moved to my 4 hour, and I'm gonna look. Even though this is blue, I still want it to be 1 hour. Don't mind me. I just do what I do for whatever reason I do it. I break the rules sometimes. It is what it is. So you know. So we have this impulse correction, right? Overall coming down. Gold has broken out. Once again, same rules apply. I'm saying the same thing consistently over and over again. I haven't changed my verbiage or my wording or how I trade at all. Just follow the rules. All right. So my 1 hour break and retest. We have this breakout. So I understand that I have now a fib A, B, you know, draw my fib from point A to point B. I have negative 27%, which hasn't been hit yet. So I know in my head, I'm going for an overall buy. Okay, good. Break down to my 30-minute, find 30-minute structure, impulse correction, impulse. I know in my 30-minute, I'm in a sell for 30-minute. All right. So now we have an overall buy for my 1 hour, sell for my 30. I'm going to catch these sells until I'm ready for that buy on my 30. Even though I'm in a buy, I'm going to catch you. I'm not about to wait for this to play out. That's going to take forever. Once again, you know, there's comments in there what's the name. So just give me 1 second. I don't understand why you say 1 hour trumps to 30, 30 trumps to 15 is the one. Will you please explain? I'll explain that again. Let's see, recording icon. Okay. Minor structure can be broken. Yes, minor structure can be broken.
Hey, bro, I love your aggressive patience, man. That shit is real.
Oh,
Excuse my language. I love your aggressive patience, bro.
appreciate it, man. I was raised by one of the greatest. No trades 100%, but the moves come fluke. We have the best. EVA carries hits the same occurs. That's control point. What's the control point? I don't know what a control point is. Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to get through these comments because they're building up. But I'll get back to it. I know where I'm at on my 30-minute structure. Trust and believe. And saying that don't look for the break in lows and highs. All right. So the question that stuck out to me the most was, I don't understand why your 1 hour trumps your 30, your 30 trumps the 15, and so on and so forth. Will you please explain this to me? So what's the best way? I'm trying to put this in one more way. And after that, you just got to watch videos on YouTube because YouTube, you know, explaining stuff pretty well too. But it's just basically like Jess said a truck. So I remember she saying something about a truck, you know, your higher time frames, you know, is just gonna move differently. It's heavier. I don't know how to explain this a different way. This is what it is. That's just exactly what it is, you know.
You know what? Somebody else commented and answered, and I understood, but I appreciate the answer.
Thank you for speaking up because I was trying to figure out how I'm gonna put this to you, but thank you for saying something. All right.
Thanks.
All right. So we have this 30-minute structure, right? So we're in the overall sell. And right now I'm stuck between this low. So you see we have this red area, right? So this red area lets me know I'm on a daily resistance area, which is a strong area. So that lets me know the price is going to stick around there for at least a day or two, maybe three, before it pulls up. But it's definitely going to sit here for some time. So I know I have time to sit and I have time to work its way towards this trend line. So I'm probably going to take buys and sells for the next 2 or 3 days between gold. You know, when it plays out, gets some resistance area support, I'm going to execute it on either direction. But right now, I don't see anything clear because it's not at a resistance area or a support area. It's kind of just floating. So right now, gold can literally drop from this point and work its way down, or gold can pull up and then drop. You understand? So I don't know. And I'm not here to predict or try to know. I'm just here to trade what I see. So therefore, I don't see it at an area. That's why I'm not going to touch it. All right. But once it does break this 30-minute, it's up because I know overall on my 1 hour, I'm going for a buy. So this is where swing trading comes into play. This is a swing trade move. Once this breaks retest, I'm going to hold this all the way up here. I'm going to ride it and I'm going to enter heavy. You understand? But that's down the line. Once you learn certain ways how to trade, you can implement different ways for your strategy. You know, you grow as a trader. You truly do grow. Let me tell you, if you stick with it, I've been doing this for 5 years. Had people tell me it wasn't going to work, this and that, family looking at me crazy, but just stick with it. Stick with it. And let me tell you, now I just look at them like, damn, you want to work today? But I do mess with them because I work too. I work my ass off. Don't get me twisted. Like I do get up and work. But it's just like a joke, you know. And that we all support and laugh about it now. But it just goes to show you got to stick with something that only you can see. When God gives you a vision and gives you a purpose, it gives you a plan, you're going to have to walk through the fire by yourself. It's going to be hot. It's going to be cold. You're going to have to get nights where you don't care about yourself. You don't care about nobody else, you know. And you have to go through it. You got to get lost to be found. You have to be lost to be found. So anybody who just started out, I take my hat off to you. I do hope that you can stay consistent with this new journey you're on, because it does get better at the end. Just to throw it out there, my grandmother passed away 7 months ago. That's my heart, right? And she was the only one in my family to tell me that. You know, we talked about it and we had this conversation. I was like, well, how do you explain something to somebody who doesn't understand what you're talking about? She said, you don't, you know, simple as that. You just don't. You just work, get up, do, and let that show. So, you know, I just put my head down and I got to work, and, you know, 3 years goes by. What's going on? I don't see no results, but you see your results. You understand? Like, people want to see results monetarily. So they want to see you in a new car. They want to see you in a new house. They want to see you with this new bag. If you're a woman, you know, newest shoes. Me, I haven't been shopping the last 4 years. I put myself on punishment, put myself in the house. You know, I go out from time to time. I ain't just sitting around. But I knew that I wanted this, and I knew that, you know, life wasn't going to get any easier, so I had to make it easier for myself, you know. So it's about what you want in this world. So just stay consistent with your trades, and you'll be good. But let's open the floor to questions, because I think that I went over gold well enough to, you know, satisfy you guys' needs. I hope.
You did. Thank you so much for going back to that for us.
No problem at all. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, my question was, when you do your breath work, is it more like meditating? And how do you go from looking at the charts to then letting your mind go away from the charts to breathing? Because I find myself worrying about the charts too much, not even waiting for an alert.
Right, because what I've come to find out again is it's trading what you see, not what you think. So you can think it all day. I can wake up and think it's going to be sunny, walk outside, you know, trade what you see, not what you think. You know, that's the hardest part you have to get under. Trade what you see, not what you think. You can think something's going to happen all day, but if the market is doing something else, you got to go with what it's doing. Breathing, I just breathe. It's just overall good for you. I do a lot of hiking too, so that just helps. That's why I do that. But breath control is important. It's just something I've added onto my life. That's all. But that's just to let you know what I do. Not for you to, you know, if you do something different, go on. But I hope that answered your question.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I did.
You have any more questions?
Yeah, I see somebody type the question. I was actually going to ask, what's your IG?
I really don't use IG. I can give you guys my Telegram.
Okay.
IG more so. I'm a very private person. I apologize. I know I ain't gonna apologize for it, but that's just who I am. Because I don't want my IG to be flooded with questions and comments. No disrespect. When I go on there for fun and laughter. So I just try to keep things separate. That's all. So my Telegram, I read it in the group chat.
Appreciate that.
So, all right, and there it goes. Do we have any more questions?
I got one question, man. And whenever like I find when I'm looking at a new trend, like after you draw your trend line and that trend breaks, say for instance, you're in a downtrend and you're going in an uptrend, it's a fresh uptrend, and you finally get a point A, point B on minor structure, right? It plays out, and then you get a new A to B. And I know Jess has kind of went over this too, and I want to make sure I'm doing it right. Do you just move the fib from you keep the point A and just move point B up to the next higher high? Or do you move like the entire fib up? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're talking about. And yes, it does. It depends on the structure which I'm looking at to move my fib. So for example, on this gold, my fib is set in stone, like it's locked in. I'm no longer going to move it up once it breaks 27 to 26. I'm going to look for a trend line, wait for a break and retest, and I'll just trade on minor structure and let that play out, if that makes sense. I'll leave that bigger fib where it's at and then allow my minor structures to play out, because I know overall, like I don't need the fib at any point, but I'm sorry, I do apologize. I'm working on my minor structure anyway, so I'm just looking for a trend line to break and retest again, and then I'll start, over again. But the fib is really just to give you an identity. I'm tired as hell. The fib is just really used to give you an idea of where your TP is on your overall structure.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you an example, because I feel like showing is better than telling. Let me see if I can find one. But sometimes you don't have to move the fib; it's just stuck in place. But sometimes you do. So for example, this one right here, it's 30-minute. This is the first one, and then the second one I can move, for example, but it's usually on the lower time frames, not my higher time frames. My higher time frames, I've come to find out, I just let them be set in stone. All right. Somebody may see it differently than I, and that's cool. It's how you see the market. My eyes see something different than you. You may see something different than me. But as long as you're winning, I love that for you. All right. But for me,
I agree.
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're good. My higher time frames, I don't move. My lower time frames, I do allow myself to be a little flexible, especially if I know price is going to push down further. Like I didn't move this because I just held my. But I do certain things, once again, I do what I do, sue me. But yes, this I was supposed to move, I just didn't, because I just knew price was going to stop, and I put a stop loss in profit, and I just rolled it down, put it at higher high, and just let it continue rocking until it came back up and hit my stop loss.
Got it.
All right. Do you have any more questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So when I'm trading, I'm good until I get to that 15-minute. The 15-minute gives me anxiety. So can you help when it comes down to the 15-minute on how to trade it correctly? I get you say it's your entry point, but I'm like, look, I gotta move from here. Last week I was just like, nah, I can't do it.
Right. Okay. So my question is, when you trade, do you work your way down from your higher time frames when you get to your 15, or do you just look at your 15 from the jump?
No, I work my way down.
So, okay. So for the most part, I don't, my higher time frames are always going to be the same. Once I get them set in stone, I don't touch them. I really touch them maybe every 2 months just to make sure everything is still in line. But I only touch my 1, my 30, and my 15 when I look at the charts every week. So if you just stay between them three and allow yourself to understand where you're at when you get to that 15, you're not stressing yourself, because you already know my 1 hour is going here. Okay, is my 30-minute telling me something different? Yes. Okay, but I know structure is structure. So I know structure is going to move in the way it needs to move regardless. Structure is never going to break. And it's always going to hit TP at least 27%. You got to train your eye, baby. That's the best I can tell you. Train your eye, because it's there. You maybe haven't sat in it. And let me ask this question: how long have you been trading?
So I just finished the course, like I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, give yourself time. Give yourself time. That's all that is. That your time had to set in. That the time set in with you, and in time you'll be okay. But you have to sit through. You have to be scared for a while in order for you to get through it. But don't leave it. Stay with it. Okay.
I definitely will. Ain't no other choice. This is my plan A. Ain't no plan B, C, or D.
Exactly. So just stick with it. And don't mark up. Just watch it play out. Like, okay, is it playing out right? Yeah. Don't trade for like a good week or two. Watch a few trades play out. Get comfortable seeing it. Once again, it's trading your eye. So you have to be able to see it before it comes. See, I've watched the charts for 5 years, so I know how the charts are. I know it's going to work out. I know it's going to play out. It's no if it's going to play out. It's I know, because I've seen it so many times. It's just like I wake up happy as hell in the morning. I ain't gonna lie, like it's another day to make money. Great day. Did that help you? That answer your question? I do apologize.
Yes, it did.
I also want to say that Jess responded in the chat to her as well.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yes.
How do you trade consolidation? Sometimes I find my consolidation on certain pairs may consolidate between the weekly zone, and sometimes goes to the monthly. So I find it a little difficult to trade consolidation.
I eat in consolidation. That's where I eat. That's where I make my money. Let me tell you. So okay. So you say you find it hard. So and I heard you say weekly, which I don't touch higher time frames. So I'm gonna say from my point of view on how I trade, that's wrong. I'm not gonna say the way you were taught is wrong, but how we trade over here, that's the wrong direction. You're looking at overall. When you're going into your smaller time frames, you're looking for your 31-hour consolidation area. So if you just break yourself down from that higher time frame, get out of that higher time frame mindset and work your way down, you should probably be able to fix the problem that you're having.
Let me just say real quick. You will never win trades trading from your weekly, like ever. So please do not do that at all. I just heard that and I was like, wait, what?
I don't, yeah.
Like, even if you see consolidation on your weekly, highlight that area and then drop it down. Like, just highlight it by yourself whenever you're on your chart. Highlight the whole area that you talk about that's consolidation. Then drop down to a 1 hour and count those pips so you can see exactly what I'm saying. Like, I guarantee you it's anywhere between probably even 1,000 pips. You know what I'm saying? Like, consolidation on a weekly is literally uptrends and downtrends on your 1 hour and 4 hour time frame. Yeah, you could do it right now.
It's just too much going on.
Yeah, so get that whole consolidation point. Like, yeah, get that from right there to the bottom. Yeah, get that.
Yeah.
Get the ruler and count from that high. Yeah. He about to show you. Okay.
So that's 144 days, 700 days. I'm not waiting.
Yeah, like Omar said, I don't know where you learned that part, friend, but that is not it. Okay. And I even talk about how, like, if you enter off a 1 hour time frame, it's like jumping out of an airplane. So looking at a weekly only to determine, and you have to understand also the reason that is, like, you guys are retail traders. We're retail traders. You're not a bank. You don't move the market from your income alone. You know what I'm saying? Or from your equity alone. That is like, yeah, you can see, okay, the market's been downtrending for weeks, but you can have a whole week of a downtrend, but be in a whole uptrend for your day. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. But what about when you go to a lower time frame, for example, even say 1 hour or 30 minutes, and you find this consolidation?
So you would trade, you can definitely trade your 1 hour and 4 hour consolidations. Like in the course, your 4 hours broken down to your 30 minutes, your 1 hour is broken down to your 15 minute, and then like you can trade back and forth. I have a video on YouTube. I'll try to find it and sit it in the chat, but because I know Omar's tired, Because even when I asked him to do this, he was like, sis, I'm like super tired. I was like, I really need you to come through for me today. And Omar, I do want to say thank you so much, but I'll try to find that video and then send it to you, because I literally broke down entries and consolidation and everything. It's on YouTube though, for sure.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Omar, I didn't mean to cut you off. That just threw.
No, you're good. I have nothing else. I mean, unless they have questions.
Thank you, Omar.
No, I was saying,
I mean, questions are
Jess,
definitely
I
open.
remember the
Always here to
video
help,
that you're
you know,
talking about.
clear your mind of anything that you think you. No problem.
You said what?
I said clear your mind of anything that you think need answered.
Yeah, somebody said they remembered that video. Do you know which video it is? Because I've done so many at this point.
I know. I think it was like at the end of June or beginning of July.
I remember I went over GJ when I did it, I believe. So I'll try to find it and give it to you guys.
Hey, Jess, I know you're recovering. Do you know if we'll have our call tomorrow?
I'm gonna ask Liz to do it actually, because you just reminded me that it is tomorrow. So I'll let you guys. I mean, we'll have it regardless. So like, even if I just gotta suck it up and figure it out. Y'all know I don't cancel, so we'll figure it out. But yeah, y'all's call is tomorrow. We never change dates. All right. All right, you guys. Well,
Good night, Jess. Thank you.
Hope you feel better,
Thank you,
love.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Omar.
Thanks, Omar.
Thank you, Jess.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
All right.
Omar.
Thank you, Omar.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Omar.
Hey, thank you, Jess. Thank you, Omar. Appreciate y'all.